Phyllis from the Doll Corner, and welcome to my channel. And welcome any new subscribers, and thanks for everybody for subscribing. I've got over 500 now, and I'm really pleased with that. So be sure and subscribe, touch the bell to keep, and be sure and touch the thumbs up, the like buttons. All those things help my channel grow. And if you have any questions, you can email me. The link for my email address is below, and also the link for my Etsy shop where I have my doll pattern book listed. It's patterns from a size 6 doll up to about a 23, 24 inch doll, and for all different types of dolls, like baby dolls to fashion dolls. So be sure and check that out. So today I want to show you how to make hams. There are several ways of doing it, and this is only a few ways. Probably my favorite ways. So first of all, the easiest one I do is I just run my serger along the edge, then fold it over and sew right along my serged edge. Oh, I got a red thread caught in there somewhere. So that you've got a straight seam along there. And if you don't get it quite straight, you can always take and put some trim over it, like that. And sometimes it's hard to keep your trim straight and even. Just put a piece of double-faced tape on there and take that off and put your trim or your lace or whatever. And I set this at the bottom of it, and then I stitch along the top. And then I just stitch along here. You can either use a zigzag or however you want to put your trim on, or just a plain stitch. So that's my first way of doing it. My second way is I'll turn in about a 1/4 of an inch, turn it up again, press it, and then just sew straight down here. Now, you could use the trim along there as well. So that's another way. So then if you want to make blind hem stitch, you turn it up the same as you did for just a plain stitch, but then you have to fold it back. See how I folded this back? And I use my blind hem foot, and it has a little guide there. So you put it on, and it runs. You put your guide along that edge like that. Oh, let's see how to do that. So I put my foot on, my threads to the back. Now this is the stitch we're doing. I hope you can see that. It's a few stitches, and then it takes a little bite out when you're sewing along this way. And then this is what it looks at the back, and this is what it looks at the front. So I'm going to guide that little metal guide. Oh, so I have to set this to my right stitch. this off my... So you can see, hopefully you can see that. And then you pull it out like that. And when you press it, you can almost, if you had the right color of thread with that, you press it and it looks like that. Now that's another way of doing it. I'll take this foot off and put my other one on. Now I showed you this method in my how to sew a circle skirt, a hem circle skirt. What you do, and you can do this for a straight hem as well. On a woven fabric, you can just take and turn in about 1/4 of an inch, sew it down, then trim this edge off right back to where you sewed. Now this one I'll finish it shorter. See, trim that right back. Oops. And then when you've got that trimmed off, you just turn that over as narrow as possible. And just run it down like that. And you have a nice little hem. See how nice that looks? Now if you want to sew on knit, that is something else again. And I like to serge the edge. I could zigzag it, or I could turn it in like this. But basically, I usually do it this way. But to get this to stay nice and smooth looking instead of all puckery, I take some of this stitch witchery. Is that what you call it? Something like that. Yeah. And I take a little piece off, or some off, and I line it up along here. But before I do, I take a little bit of Elmer's glue and just put the odd dot, just because sometimes it's a little hard to control. And then I go to the ironing and press it back like this. And that gives you a nice firm hem. So I've got it stuck back here. I could have maybe, so it's nice, you've got a nice firm seam. Now I like to go from this side where my hem is, and I want to sew it with a stretch stitch. And so I have to change my and this is a stitch with 2 stitches. It goes back and forth. It's a stretch stitch. And I'll you can tell it how it's going back and forth. And try to get it as straight as you can. You can see, and then it stretches and it doesn't break. And then I'm going to make the second row of stitching. Now there's another way you can make the 2 rows of stitches, and that's with a double needle. But I got a new double needle or twin needle the last day I was out, and when I was putting it in the machine I broke it, so I can't show you how I do it with my twin needles until I get another needle. Oh dear. Well, then I ran out of thread in my bobbin. So basically I make 2 rows of stitches like that, and just it looks like this. I hope you can see that. But you see it's got stretch. And the hem's stretched, but it looks nice and firm and not wrinkly. And then the back looks like this. Now this one I just zigzagged along the edge, so that's how I make a lot of my hems. There are a lot of other ways of making hems, but those are my favorite ways of making it. So be sure and subscribe. And thanks for watching, everybody. And bye now.